And we're live. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Matthew Bellman and Ryan Kostrowski here. This is the DFS 5-pack. Just spitballing over here with my main man, Bellman, about what we want to do to kind of continue to pump out some content during quarantine. So we're just going to kind of start talking fantasy football. You asked me a couple questions on the show yesterday. Kind of got the blood flowing over here thinking about the, drafts are still 4 months away, assuming that the NFL season can play out and things like that. But I think maybe every day, do a video or two talking over like everybody, you know what I mean? Like just kind of go down the list and talk about all the different players, the ins and the outs, get into a little bit more detail. We can still kind of do the videos we've been doing, but give us something to talk about.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I know you're looking to get back into a routine. It's not like it's that tenuous or going to take that much time. So I'm about it. Let's do this. I'm excited to talk over some fantasy football. As we were just talking before, man, I wish we were talking fantasy baseball, but we're not, and there's nothing we can do about it as of now. Hopefully we get some good news as far as that goes, and then we'll turn our attention way towards that. But for now, we'll talk some football.
Yeah, I'm still confident we're going to get some version of a baseball season. We're going to get NBA playoffs, but maybe that's just the eternal optimist that you know that I am. I think most of you guys who've been following this know for a while I'm a pretty positive and upbeat person who looks for the good stuff. And it's tough during quarantine to have a lot to look forward to. I know some of you guys who are still working haven't had your lives affected quite as much. Good for you guys. I'm a little bit jealous. But for a lot of us, at the very least, we're all missing probably our favorite go-to thing to watch at night.
I mean, go-to thing to watch like all the time. I mean, Sports Center and all that stuff is getting real old because they have nothing to talk about. So can't wait for real sports to come back. It's going to be an exciting time when it comes back because it seems like this is our new norm, but it's not. And a year from now, this will seem like forever ago, and I just can't wait to get to that point.
All right, so let's just kind of start talking through some of the bigger players up top, give it, quick and early thoughts and opinions. I don't know about you, but there just aren't a lot of standard leagues around anymore. I mean, DFS is all PPR. Every league I play in is PPR, so I just assume that every kind of ranking we look at is PPR these days. Are you kind of out there?
Yeah, I mean, at least half-point PPR. Every ranking I look at personally is PPR. I don't even look at standard rankings. I don't really like standard leagues. It's a big reason I don't like FanDuel as much as DraftKings. They're only half-point PPR. I'm looking at like the top ESPN 100, top 100 overall PPR rankings. So, yeah, I definitely I'm with you, though. Like, standard seems to be pretty obsolete at this point.
Okay, so this is Fantasy Pros, ESPN. Are they up on the website right now? We can pull those up as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at some ESPN rankings.
Let's see if we can't pull that up as well. Just give us more to talk about. Mike Clay's 2020-30 non-PPR updated fantasy football rankings. All right, so they got quarterback. Are you doing the Eric Carabell?
Yeah, I am.
All right, we'll go over that one. We only need the top 100 today anyway. So he's got McCaffrey number one. Fantasy Pros has McCaffrey number one. We talked about this one for a little while yesterday, and I kind of forget what your answer was. I said I would take Christian McCaffrey right now, number one overall. Were you Saquon or Christian? I couldn't remember.
I'm McCaffrey number one overall. Just not going to be like shocked if Saquon has a big leap this year.
I kind of feel about Christian McCaffrey the way I do about Mike Trout in baseball. There's a good opportunity that somebody else could beat him this year, but I feel really, really safe with him being my number one overall guy. His workload is, monstrous. I don't know. What you think the new starting quarterback makes a difference? I just think it's kind of a lateral move from a fantasy perspective. I don't think bringing in Bridgewater is going to really change him, good or bad.
I think it helps him if nothing else because Bridgewater is a step up from Allen, who they had last year, and
more touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know. If anything, I think it helps him, but I agree. It's more. How could it help him that much, considering how much he does for that offense, anyways?
Right, like I just can't picture Bridgewater being any kind of a letdown to the offense. Because Cam Newton hasn't been Cam Newton in a couple of years, and then last year I can't even think of the name of the rookie who took over most of the season. What was his name?
Allen. What was something Allen?
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It feels like the football season was so long ago, but yeah. All right, so okay, I'm in agreement. It's just for me when you look at the Christian McCaffrey workload. And I was looking this up yesterday. Pull up our Pro Football Reference. The big thing for me is the way that they have been using him. And I didn't see this changing. I know with Ron Rivera no longer there, if you think it might change a little bit, I get that. But this guy's got 113, 124, and 142 targets in the passing game throughout his first 3 seasons. He showed me no signs of slowing down as the season progressed. I know running backs have a short life in the NFL. If you watch the Panthers play, this guy does not take a lot of big hits for a guy with such a big workload.
I will say, I feel like there's nothing really to not like about McCaffrey, right? He offers everything as far as fantasy is concerned. There really isn't anything not to like. For me, like looking beyond that, like you mentioned Saquon Barkley, Barkley is definitely my number 2, and I don't think it's close. Like I think there's a big drop off after McCaffrey and then after Saquon. I'm buying Saquon this year, clearly.
I mean, Saquon is so talented, right? He's so good. You can't expect that the Giants' offense could be worse, right? I mean, they've had really lack of quarterback, lack of offensive line, and he's still been able to be productive despite some injury issues last year. I mean, as bad as Saquon looked in some of these games, he still averaged 4.6 yards per carry last year. He still had 52 catches. I mean, the only way to go is up, and I'm with you. The whole idea that he could definitely beat McCaffrey. He could be better.
He's way riskier.
I mean, is he?
Well, I feel like McCaffrey is more of a sure thing. That's why he's number 1. But for me, like, so Daniel Jones showed buying signs last year. I'm not expecting him to be, like, amazing, but I think he's capable, and that helps Saquon a lot. They drafted a tackle with their first pick. That helps Saquon a lot. I think that they're just going to be better overall. Saquon is just really talented. And it also has to do with there isn't anyone else I love up here. Like,
I'm with you.
There's question marks all around with all these guys. Like, sure, would I be happy if Michael Thomas was on my team? Yeah, but I'm definitely not drafting him like 3rd overall, 2nd overall, no way. That's just how I feel. So I'm excited to just break this down with you, not only today, but as we continue to do this.
I'm with you. I played mostly auction drafts, and I do think that I want to spend the money on one of these 2 guys. And the drop-off, like, I don't know how you put Ezekiel Elliott ahead of Saquon Barkley.
Me neither. I mean, I like Zeke. And if you're playing a standard league, I mean, maybe. And I get the touchdown equity is big for Zeke, but at some point, like, they also have an amazing, like, a quarterback and 3 wide receivers that are very good that they got to feed. So I just think Saquon is more of a focal point of the offense.
And every year that these guys take a pounding like Ezekiel Elliott has gone through, I have a little bit less confidence in them being quite as productive last year. He's never, like, there's no chance that Ezekiel Elliott's ever going to catch 100 balls the way that McCaffrey has done in back-to-back seasons. And the way, like, at the end of next year, if Saquon's got 100 catches, are you surprised in the slightest?
No. I mean, to be perfectly honest, and we'll get to this guy, and I know he's already in, like, the top 15, but over like Ezekiel and all these guys, I think I like Austin Eckler just as much. I mean, talk about being in a great spot.
I just can't picture him being bell cow for a full season.
For sure. I just think why I mentioned him was you talk about catching 100 balls. I could see that from Eckler, especially with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, okay. I don't disagree with that. Again, I don't like to listen to Skip Bayless on a lot of things. He's been real adamant that he felt he saw a slippage in Zeke's last year in his ability to be as productive. And we know that with running backs, they fall off a cliff really, really quickly. This guy has taken him, quite the pounding through 4 seasons. And every year that he goes down there, like, I just don't expect Ezekiel Elliott to get better. I could see him getting worse, though.
Yeah, I could too. I mean, running backs rarely get like better like that. I mean, he is really good, though, I think. So
yes.
I'm not gonna be like shocked if he has like a monster. I'm not going to be shocked if he like leads the league in touchdowns,
And like, do you think there's any chance, like, we still don't know what's going to happen with Dak's, contract, that there could be some tensions on this offense throughout the season? Maybe they are less productive. Maybe they do try to feed, Amari Cooper or something. I don't know. Like, I could just see it not being quite as Ezekiel Elliott heavy as it has been the first 4 years as well. So I'm not saying that he's not the number 3 pick. I'm just saying I definitely am with you that in an auction draft, I want one of those top two guys. I'll spend an extra $10, $15 on it to get up there. I don't want to spend close to the same money on Zeke that I would on Saquon or Christian McCaffrey. And quite frankly, if I was in a snake draft, I would really consider Michael Thomas with the 3rd overall pick.
I would too, although I think you see a drop in production from him too now that they have Emmanuel Sanders. Man, I also would rather get a running back like that high.
I would, but Michael Thomas to me, I'm not overly worried about Emmanuel Sanders eating into him too much. I think Michael Thomas is that good.
I don't think you're going to see him catch that many balls every year personally. I mean, he might. It's certainly a possibility. I just think that the Saints will try to spread the ball around a little bit more.
Maybe. He's always open, though. Maybe he won't get 185 targets, but this guy's 192, 104, 120 of 149 receptions his first 4 seasons. I don't picture him going up from that, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I think 149 receptions is probably the most he'll ever get, but I'm pretty comfortable with his 2018 production being something that we can expect from him next year. 9 touchdowns per season kind of seems to be where he's at with the one dip his sophomore year. This guy is he's always open. You always know it's going to him, but yet he's always open. He's incredible.
He is incredible, and he is definitely in consideration for the number 3 overall pick. I'm not sure who I'd take between him and Zeke. It's definitely a question. I don't love the number 3 pick. Let's put it like that.
I think if it was me right now on April 30th, 2020, it would be McCaffrey, Barkley, and then Michael Thomas. And then looking at all these other guys out there, I think I would have Zeke number 4. And then I think Cook would be my 5 in a PPR league. And again, I don't want to give too much counsel. You know that guy I've talked about on Instagram? He's a big fantasy football tout. Yeah. Always talking about Dalvin Cook being injury prone. He hasn't played a full season. And that injury last year toward the end was real. It's enough cause for pause on Dalvin Cook, even though I am a monster fan. And I do think the loss of Diggs hurts this offense overall.
How could it not? He's really good. They did draft a number 1 receiver in the first round, though. So, I'm not expecting him to replace Diggs and be as good. But if he is, then it might not hurt Cook.
Yeah. I'm a Dalvin Cook fan. As far as Minnesota Vikings go, he's definitely one of my favorite guys that's ever played for their team. I enjoy watching how he plays the game. But when you're looking for some knocks against him and cause for pause in this middle tier of the first round, it's why I could potentially downgrade him a little bit.
You know who I really like a lot? And again, we talk about not being a slave to the rankings, who I actually think could have a better year than Michael Thomas. Now, the fact that Michael Thomas plays in a dome really helps him. Is Davante Adams. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be on a mission this year, and that's his guy. That's his only guy, and he's really good.
He is, and I think Davante's still really safe. So we talked about that thing that you sent me this morning in regard to, Aaron Rodgers. There was one line in there that, I kind of felt like takes about how I feel. Like, you don't think I don't know. I don't think this changes that much with Aaron Rodgers. I know a lot of people in that article you've said, I've heard that opinion that, he's going to be on a mission this year. He's going to be on a mission this year. Like, I think Aaron Rodgers has been on a mission to try to win a second Super Bowl for his legacy for a while. He just hasn't had the guys to do it. Is Davante Adams a really safe play? I think he is, but I don't expect him to be any better. They definitely seem like they want to be run heavy. Okay,
fair point. And then to another guy that I guess let's hit up another receiver right there, but also in that same boat, a running back on a new team, Julio Jones, and then piggybacking off that, Todd Gurley. And I like both of them quite a bit this year.
I am real worried about Gurley personally.
What are you worried about? I mean, this is if he's healthy. We don't know right now because no one is – I don't even know if he's had his physical. But are you worried about him even if he comes perfectly healthy?
I from what I've heard and from what I've read about Todd Gurley, he will never be perfectly healthy ever again.
Wow. Well, then that's very, very concerning.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a reason that the Rams are just gone and out on him, and we're really monitoring his workload. They should probably know his health as well as anybody, right? And they seem – and I get – with with running backs and contracts that you got to be really careful where your money goes and everything like that. But it seemed to be a pretty easy decision for them not to ride him down the stretch of the Super Bowl season, not to give him too many carries last year, and then just to kind of not have them in their future plans moving forward. So I'm assuming that they are pretty adamant that the injury issues with him are real.
Fair point. Now, again, they've sold off a lot of their players, so I'm not exactly buying what the Rams are selling, but I can't argue that. They did seem to really, lighten his workload a couple years ago, and he really wasn't productive last year. So I definitely think there's concern there, but I could also see him having a bounce back year if he's healthy, of course.
It's not impossible to think that he's got one more great season in him. And he's been around for a while. He's been around for 5 years, but he's never even had 300 carries in a season. He's only got one season with over 300. 2 seasons with over 300 touches if you include the passing game. So it's not like he's had these monster workloads like some other guys who are 25 years old. I'm hesitant on him. Now, it depends on where you get him. I think the problem with Todd Gurley ultimately is every draft's going to have one guy who believes in him. So I think he's going to be tough to get a steal. He's a big name.
That's a good point. And I'm not really a Gurley guy, so good point. If that's the case, I probably won't end up with him. End up with too much of him. We'll make a video about him as we continue to make videos.
Yeah, we'll probably do individual videos on like all these guys, right?
Yeah. So just sitting on a couple more before I got to head out of here. A lot of buzz about the Chiefs' first-round pick, Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of LSU. They took a running back in the first round. Very much in the Brian Westbrook mold. That's the comparison he gets a lot. Like, I think he's going to just keep rising up boards. Like, what are your thoughts? I know you don't know much about him, but just the fact that he's a pass-catching running back in the Chiefs offense.
So when you're Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback and you have Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, I'm not expecting a running back to get a monster workload. Now, we think about Brian Westbrook in some of those days of that Eagles offense. He was an absolute fantasy stud. It's tough for me to get a great – I can't really give an opinion on him. That's one I'll have to definitely watch more throughout the preseason a little bit. And what are they talking about as far as what they want to give him? I don't have a great opinion on him as of right now of what I think his workload is going to be, but it's a good one to monitor because that is a high-powered offense.
And they still have Damian Williams too. So
yeah, my thoughts are they'll definitely run with the committee there unless somebody absolutely just steals the job and is a clear-cut better player.
For sure, you just gotta they took him in the first round. You gotta think that he's gonna be the pass-catching guy. You would
think so.
I mean, who knows? But that's what you think. And then
let's talk about Alvin Kamara for a minute because that was a guy who was a disappointment to people all over last year.
I could see him having a big-time bounce back here.
So, for those of you guys who watched the game, which is going to be most of you, clearly both of us watched the game a lot. Oh, wow, I didn't realize that he'd gone Chris Davis on us. 81 receptions in each of his first 3 years.
Wait, what'd you say?
He has 81 receptions in each of his first 3 seasons, exactly.
Wow, so yeah, he is Chris Davis-like.
Very much Chris Davis, yeah. He's never going to be a guy with 200 rushes, more than likely, right? He had a bunch in that 2018 season because he ate a monster workload. That's when he got up to 194 when Ingram was out for the first 4 games. But they don't want to give him that big of a workload. What I've noticed with Kamara, and we talked about this for a while last year, the explosivity doesn't seem to be quite the same. Like the big plays, people plan around it now, and he is just not getting those big plays at the same clip that he was when he was younger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a wrong statement. I think it's factually correct. Again, another guy where I wouldn't be surprised at all if he has a bunch of big plays this year. I'm not sure that there's any method to the madness of why he hasn't had big plays. Maybe he's lost some explosivity. Maybe he hasn't. I'm not sure.
I think the most likely scenario is just teams plan for it now. They know not to let Kamara get him on the big play. When he was a rookie and he was still a little bit of, I wouldn't say an unknown, but a little bit still, people weren't 100% buying in right away and he was breaking them off. Every week it seemed like he had a monster play. I think teams really make sure that they don't give up monster plays to him. And I think that's another reason you've seen he has 81 catches, but the number of yards are going down. The yards per touch are down a little bit. I think teams will let him get him at 3, 4, 5 yards a clip as opposed to watching him go for an 80-yard touchdown repeatedly.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think that's a bad point at all.
I'll say that I'm not happy if that's who I get in the mid-first round one. Like, I am absolutely, like, if you get into an auction draft, give me Christian McCaffrey for 75 way before give me Kamara for 60 or 55. Like, I want to spend the extra money on this guy.
I'm with you. I mean, again, is another guy, I think I like Eckler more than that. So why don't we each pick a couple more guys to talk over? I'm gonna bring up two guys at once because I want to hear your quick takes on the Tampa receivers, Godwin and Evans.
So my big problem with Tampa right now is, do they have too many mouths to feed?
They got a ton of mouths to feed, especially now with Gronk there, who I like a lot this year. I think he's going to catch a bunch of touchdowns.
Yeah, I think you watch them really limit Gronk's workload. I think Gronk comes in, he plays 66% of the snaps, and half of them are going to be running, but he's still going to catch 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't think that he plays. I mean, you got to assume that Tampa Bay at this point, I mean, they got to play like they think they're Super Bowl contenders. They're in it to win it right now. So when you get a guy like Rob Gronkowski, who's a mismatch on every single play that he's out there, and you know that he's had injury issues, those have been, obvious, right? That they're going to limit his snap load. So I don't love him for the regular season. I love what he brings to the team in real life more than I love him from a fantasy perspective.
Same, but I still think he's like maybe worth a late round flyer and could catch a bunch.
Oh, sure.
I mean,
yeah. I'm not saying don't draft him. I'm saying I don't look at him like the Rob Gronkowski that used to go in round 2.
Same. And I do think that Godwin's the safest just because he's going to catch the most balls.
Also, what do we know about Tom Brady? What part of the field does he love to attack?
The middle.
Where is Chris Godwin going to run a lot of snaps?
The middle.
I'm with you. I think they might have some great connections right there. I like Godwin. I'll take Godwin over Mike Evans as well.
Same. Cool. So, all right, bring up one more guy.
What about your boy Nick Chubb? I don't like him in round 2.
So why not?
Kareem Hunt's also really good.
This is true. I think that's a big reason why. I'm excited.
It's the only reason why for me.
Yeah, because I'm excited. They have Stefanski from Minnesota. Their offense is going to look a lot like Minnesota's. We saw how good Dalvin Cook was there. But the difference is that I know Madison is good, and I like Madison, but Hunt is definitely more proven, and I think that is a better pass-catching guy. So I do think that workload's going to be split.
Yeah, and I mean, Kareem Hunt's the better pass catcher.
Yeah, he just is.
Not that Nick Chubb's terrible in the passing game, but he's not prolific the way that, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, and Saquon are.
And Kareem Hunt is like, he's almost prolific like those guys in the passing game.
Definitely. So that's my problem with Chubb. Chubb will run for 1,000 yards. He'll probably have double-digit touchdowns, but lack of, he doesn't have the same Derrick Henry upside where he's going to be the workhorse, and he's just not going to have nearly as many pass catches. We saw it. Kareem Hunt instantly came in and was the pass-catching back. What happens when he's got a full offseason to prepare with them? And he gets to start the season with them. It could be a true 50-50 split for touches.
Yeah, I mean, Kareem Hunt is good. Like, I know I've made that point in the past because Nick Chubb is really good, but, like, there's a reason that Kareem Hunt is still here, even with the new regime, and Cleveland picked him up. Like, he led the league in rushing, now 3 years ago or 2 years ago now. So I'm with you. That is like the big reason not to like him. 100%.
Like, I still haven't found Kareem Hunt on their listings, but give me Kareem Hunt as a flyer. And then if Nick Chubb is out for 2 weeks, look for Kareem Hunt. He's like a legit RB1 then.
Oh, yeah. If either of them get hurt, like, for sure, because we both kind of like the Browns offense this year. ESPN in these Carabao rankings has them ranked 62nd. So that's decently high. I mean, right around guys like David Johnson, Cam Akers for the Ram, Mostert, Julian Edelman.
Yeah, I like the idea of taking a flyer. And it's also the situation that if I take Chubb, I also want Hunt. Because if one of these dudes are hurt.
I'll take it a step farther. If I have Chubb, I need Hunt.
Right? Because, I mean, it's possible Hunt could take more touches. I mean, if he's just better in the passing game, they don't want to be as predictable. It's not crazy to think that Hunt gets 60% of the touches if things work out that way. I wouldn't bet on that, but it's not impossible to think that. I think the other thing with these two guys, when you have such two good running backs, if one guy's ankle is busted for the week, it's so much easier to sit one guy and just run with the other one, right? Like, you don't need both of them to be active every week. And if, his hamstring will hurt, sit him for the week. Bring him back the week after.
For sure. I'm with you.
This isn't like when Saquon's out and you go all the way down to Wayne Gallman.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that. That's the other thing about like needing Hunt if you have Chubb, because all of a sudden, if you don't, then like another team has him. That other team gets really good if you don't. If Chubb gets hurt while your team's getting really worse. So I don't know. I'm with you 100% there. Yeah, unfortunately, I gotta leave in like 1 minute. We can talk about one more guy, and then I got a good idea for a video later I'll talk to you about after we're done.
Gotcha. All right. Quick thoughts. Number 1 overall quarterback, Mahomes or Lamar Jackson?
Mahomes. I just trust him more.
I do trust Mahomes more.
Neither for me, probably, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to have either. I've had these guys. I had Lamar on 80% of my teams last year and Mahomes on 80% of my teams the year before. I won't have either this year because I will never go round 2 for a quarterback, and somebody's going to take these guys in round 2 in all your leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I do think gun to head, I trust Mahomes more. I think the upside for Lamar Jackson's a little bit higher because we saw the leap that he took in his desire to throw the ball effectively, not desire, but his ability to throw the ball effectively last year. The other thing for Mahomes, though, he was more ready to scramble last year a little bit during the stretch. So I don't think it's impossible to think that maybe he's a little more run heavy this year, and they throw that in the arsenal.
I am 100% with you. Now they have a pass-catching running back. That might only help Mahomes. Yeah, I'm interested in breaking down all these players. You're getting me kind of juiced about fantasy football. So, yeah.
Hey, we got the time, right?
Yeah, no doubt about that.
All right, guys. So this is just a little bit of a sneak preview. We will start talking more fantasy football players, and we'll probably go through everybody because we got the time for it.
Yeah, we might make another one later this afternoon. So stay tuned.
All right, later.
Thanks.